Hello everyone, hope everyone's doing well, having a good week so far. Thanks for being here. Hello TCA, good to see you. Crystal, CC. Today we are once again I'm going to be talking about Jonathan Lee Riches. I would rather not talk about this person that seems to be very popular in this case and making quite a commotion, you could say. And let me know if you guys can hear me, please, because I don't have my headphones in. So, hey Scotty. So he's been making quite a commotion. He's been very involved in this Gabby Petito case. And, so I'd rather, not give him any publicity. But what he is doing, in my opinion, in this case is, it only supports my theory about these other true crime and tragic cases that seem to be orchestrated, and the ones that are getting so much mainstream media attention over many others, such as other murders and homicides and missing persons cases that happen all the time. And why am I the worst streamer ever? Scotty, you're starting with me already, huh? I'm just kidding. I know, best worst streamer ever. Hey, I'm getting better, okay? 3 years later, they're finally coming around. But, no, always a pleasure having you, Scotty. So I've mentioned this person, a couple times recently. And, hey, Hard Eyes. Yeah, I keep getting a problem while playing. I don't know what's going on with it. So I can't even view my own video. So there we go. It's fixed. Okay, good. Try refreshing, Hard Eyes. And of course, Buddy right on cue says hello. So he loves to do that. Right outside my window. And Scotty, are you sure you haven't been hanging out with Swamp Lover recently? Because Swamp Lover always gives me a hard time. I think you guys are rubbing off on one another. But, so I've mentioned this person, a couple times recently in my last live streams when I was covering the Watts case. I also mentioned him once or twice because, he likes to insert himself into these high profile mainstream media events, and that's what I'm going to go into a little bit today, because again, I don't want to give him any publicity, but it is significant to what is going on and what I'm trying to show people, and his agenda behind it, or motives, and what exactly the reason is he keeps popping up in these events. So hey, my opinions. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Kels. So we'll give it, another minute or two and wait for a couple more people to get here. I try to, schedule these streams a little bit in advance, instead of just going live at that moment. So hopefully a few more people will get here. Yeah, it is close to Halloween, Kelsey. I love Halloween. I usually go, all out and decorate, but I didn't this year. I don't know. I just didn't feel like it. But I did put a few up. Hey, Christy. Hard Eyes, were you able to fix that connection issue by refreshing? Just curious. Hey, Broken Dishes. Hey, Sophia. Okay, so I won't waste any more time. I'll go ahead and get started. Where to start with this guy? So, in my previous live stream, I mentioned, just recently, a more recent one, that a particular channel creator who covers true crime, and again, I don't like to mention names specifically. I did mention it last time because a couple of you guys in the chat were hounding me saying, "Come on, Megan, just tell us who it is." But it's not really like I'm giving out any disinformation. But this particular channel called J is for Justice, for whatever reason, likes to have this individual on her live streams. She had him on at least once, but I want to say twice during the Chris Watts investigation. Once when he was talking about his life in prison, which we're going to get into, and also his take and his opinions on the Watts case. And from what I saw, he was giving out a ton of disinformation and throwing out theories, and the majority of people were just believing everything this guy was saying without ever vetting him or researching the information for themselves. Now, do I know for certain whether or not Jays for Justice knows that this individual, who I'm going to be speaking of again, is a professional internet troll? I don't know that. So I can't say for sure. But if, it's worrisome because, I don't know if that's the right word, but if she doesn't know that he's a professional internet troll, which I don't know how she wouldn't know, but if, let's say she doesn't, you would think that she would vet her guests before having them on, and especially with how opinionated he is and how much he likes to sway the narrative of these cases, and not only the media's narrative but his own personal narrative as well. Hey Van. So you have that, but then, so maybe she doesn't know, but then if she does know, then that's even that's just as bad as well, that she wouldn't be honest with her guests, or not her guests, but her viewers, and pretty much give some sort of background information on this individual. So either way you look at it, it's still troublesome in my opinion. When he was on Jays for Justice, I went into the chat and I said that pretty much people need to, 1,200 people in her chat, and I told them that they need to vet this guest that she has on, and do some research to see if he's even credible. And out of 1,200 people, how many do you think actually looked this guy up and her guest to see if he was at all credible, or even trying to vet him? I can guarantee you, not many people. And after I gave my opinion and I recommended that people look this individual up, I was timed out and muted. So yesterday or the day before, I also went into Jays for Justice live stream, and I simply said one word, and I said PSYOP. Immediately after I said PSYOP, I was again muted. I don't know if I'm blocked. I won't know until I go back in there again. I didn't say anything else after that. Wasn't gonna wait around to be for my timeout to be over. So ridiculous. Sounds like, oh, you're in timeout. Like, what are we, 5? I don't know. It's weird. But so I didn't wait around, and I wasn't gonna wait around to make another comment with the slow mode on. It was like a minute. It was on 1 minute slow mode or something. So anyways, it just goes to show that there's these other channel creators that I talk about, especially the bigger ones, that we're all familiar with, that in my opinion, I believe are plants. They are there to, they're like controlled opposition. So they'll put out some factual information, but with a whole lot of disinformation. One, to distract people from what's really going on with these cases, and also to keep people interested in the case. So by having all these guests that they seem to get that nobody else can get, like the family members that are and all these true crime cases seem to be so heavily involved in social media, which is bizarre to me. But if you look at these cases from my theory and my perspective, it makes sense why these families are so heavily engaged in social media. And not only that, but in the true crime community on these specific channels. So yes, in my opinion, again, I do think that there are plants. Not only that, but this true crime stuff does bring in a ton of views and super chats and money. So the last thing they're going to want is someone like me going into their chat and saying, this is not real. It is orchestrated. And number one, that makes them look like, you know, what are you trying to say? That I'm wrong? Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to have their opinions or whatever they're saying questioned. Not nobody, but the majority of people. I try not to say nobody all the time. But and not only that, but if I come in there and say that these cases aren't real and that we're being duped, they don't like that, because then what content would they have to cover, and what motives would they, or agendas would they have to keep these true crime, I like to call true fake crime cases, from staying so popular and keeping people distracted. So I'm sounding like Miss Mensa, Christy? You're going to have to explain further about that one. I would be interested to know why you think I sound like Miss Mensa. But, so again, we're going to talk about this individual and this guest that Jays for Justice has had on multiple times on her channel, talking about these true crime cases. And again, why this individual is so heavily involved in all these other true crime cases. And again, I don't want to give him like too much publicity. That's not the point of this. But again, it does support, in my opinion, my theory on these cases even more. So, hey, Kensel. Oh, okay, Christy. Yeah. That's one thing that Miss Mensa and I do agree on, is there are plants, most definitely, that are controlling these narratives and distracting people and keeping people focused on these cases. So this might sound repetitive, because again, I have brought him up before in previous streams, but hopefully I won't have to do this again. I was going to make a short video on it, but then they just take so long, so I figured I'd just do this live stream. So let me pull it up here. And let me know if you guys even know who I'm talking about. If you guys have been following this Gabby Petito case, you may have seen him protesting outside of the Brian Laundrie's parents' house, saying, "Where's Gabby? Where's Gabby?" Getting people all worked up, and just heavily involved in this case. He tweets about it all the time, which we're also going to take a look at. But there's also other channel creators that are following him on Twitter and posting his tweets in their community pages. And pretty much, I don't want to say that all of them are, but Jays for Justice for sure is making this individual out to be some sort of outstanding citizen, like he's doing some sort of justice or amazing things for this case, when in reality he's far from it. And Swamp Lover might be lurking, I don't know, pouting, whatever he does in his corner. He's been moody lately, so he'll come around, hopefully. Okay, oops. So I'm not going to read this. Like, there's not a lot of information on here on Wikipedia, but I'm just going to read the first part again, like I did in my other live stream. So Jonathan Lee Riches, also known as JLR, as I put in the title, born December 27th, 1976. Again, this is all public information, so I'm not doxing anybody. All this information you guys can go and vet for yourself, and find, you know, his history of being in prison and that kind of information. So Jonathan Lee Riches, born December 27, 1976, is a convicted fraudster known for the many lawsuits he has filed in various United States district courts. Riches was incarcerated at Federal Medical Center, Lexington, Kentucky, for wire fraud under the terms of a plea bargain. His release date was April 30th, 2012. He was arrested for violating his federal probation in December 2012 when he left the Eastern District of the state of Pennsylvania without permission. He allegedly drove to Connecticut and impersonated the uncle of Adam Lanza, the shooter in the Mandy Book Elementary School incident. So, that sentence is significant because what this individual does, this professional troll, as I said earlier, he inserts himself into these high-profile mainstream media events. Hey, IDK. Hey, Lindsay. So he inserts them, and now I don't know specifically the reasons behind why he does it. I don't know if he gets off on it. I don't know what his deal is, but from what I can see, and especially when he inserted himself into the Watts case. And if you guys aren't familiar with him with the Watts case, really quick, he decided to start this rumor that he was married to Nicole Kessinger and that his name was Michael Turtle Kelly. It was very popular on Reddit for some time. There was a lot of commotion in the true crime community saying, oh, there's this guy, Michael Turtle Kelly, and he's was either engaged or he was married to Nicole Kessinger. I can't believe that Nicole Kessinger was married while she was having an affair with Christopher Watts. So he inserts himself into these mainstream narratives to cause chaos, cause confusion, confuse the media, and just really just get people worked up and again, just straight up confuse people, in my opinion. But a little bit, my opinion on that is I believe that, but I also feel like it's changed, which I will get into a little bit, not changed, but maybe added on to that a little bit, and I'll get into that later. And what I've also noticed with this individual, JLR, is he seems to pop up in only ones that are orchestrated. But at this point, I'm beginning to think that the majority of these high-profile mainstream media cases, now whether it be true crime, whether it be a Capitol riot, whether it be a school shooting, whether it be a terrorist attack, whatever, if it's a campaign for the president, or even celebrities he's got involved in and impersonating them, or like it's ridiculous. So but specifically what I've noticed is he's inserting himself into the cases, the high profile mainstream media cases that are the orchestrated ones, like your Mandy Book, like your Pulse nightclub, like your Las Vegas shooting, like the Chris Watts case. So, and one in particular as well that I will maybe talk about, but that's this other one. If you guys aren't familiar, or if you don't know who I'm talking about, when I say GF, maybe someone in the chat can fill everybody else in. But there was a tragic event with an individual with the initials GF. That's another one of those events that you're just not allowed to talk about on YouTube, as well as Mandy Book, specifically without having to walk on eggshells and worry about your channel getting taken down. But so he's also inserted himself into that event, and he's just, again, he causes a lot of chaos. So but again, I've noticed that what I was saying is he from what I've seen is inserting himself into all of these orchestrated events specifically. And that's, again, what I'm going to talk about as well, is the significance of why I'm talking about him is because it only supports my theory about these orchestrated events even more. Hey, Cher. Hey, Julie. Okay, so, and I'm going to play an interview with him as well here shortly after I just talk about him a little bit more. But just to go over it a little bit, it says since January 8, 2006, he has filed over 2,600 lawsuits in federal district courts across the country, some of which have received considerable press attention. Among the more famous defendants of his lawsuits are New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick, former President of the United States George W. Bush, former Attorney General of the United States Janet Reno, Martha Stewart, NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon, former Atlanta Falcons quarterback Michael Vick, entrepreneur Steve Jobs, celebrity blogger Perez Hilton, Somali pirates, and pop star Britney Spears. So he clearly just likes to sue people for pretty much no reason. And again, cause chaos, in my opinion. So this is another part that's interesting as well. And I haven't, even though this happened in Arizona, I haven't researched it enough to say that it was orchestrated, but it's definitely on the list, in my opinion, of ones that, of tragic events that were indeed orchestrated. In July 2018, Riches was indicted by a federal grand jury in Arizona. He is charged with making false statements and other frauds after an attempt to file a lawsuit against Gabby Giffords while posing as Jared Lee Loughner. And the Gabby Giffords event is, again, in my opinion, on the list of those orchestrated events being pushed by the mainstream media to push agendas. And then it says he wrote a book, yada yada. Who cares, right? All right. Hey, Callie. Yeah, Georgina Floydina. That's funny, Kensel. I like that. Okay. I've brought this up in the other live stream when I talked about him to give you guys a heads up about what's going on with him. So, see, I really don't want to talk about this case. Okay, I mean, I do, but I don't, because it's, again, walking on eggshells. Okay, so we'll stick with the Adam Lanza thing real quick here. Jonathan Lee Riches poses as Adam Lanza's uncle, gets arrested. Jonathan Lee Riches, who allegedly posed as uncle of Mandy Book Elementary Pew Pew Pew, a shooter, Adam Lanza, has been arrested. According to the Huffington Post, the 35-year-old drove to Newtown 2 days after the massacre and showed up at a memorial site claiming to be Jonathan Lanza, Adam Lanza's uncle. So again, it shows that how he inserts himself into these tragic events, just like he did with the Watts case, and made this whole rumor up that he was married to Nicole Kessinger, to again confuse not only the mainstream media, but to confuse the public as well. Yeah, Scotty, and that I agree, and that's what I'm going to get into here in a little bit about it. Riches then told reporters from the New York Daily News that Adam Lanza had been prescribed Fanapt, I don't know what that is, an antipsychotic drug. Okay. The hoaxer. So again, this is all just information. There's several websites that confirm this, even Wikipedia. So you guys can vet all this information for yourself as well. The hoaxer was arrested a few days later for violating federal probation, as he is currently serving 5 years probation for conspiracy and wire fraud. The terms of his probation prohibit him from leaving the judicial boundaries of Pennsylvania's Eastern District without permission. And this isn't Rich's first attempt at pulling off a bizarre con. Newser reported that the ex-con has sued various celebrities under other people's names or an alias, including Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, and Justin Bieber. He was also responsible for a lawsuit under the name of Kevin Federline's brother, claiming he was the father of Britney Spears' first son, as well as suits against the Eiffel Tower. So ridiculous, and you're gonna see that as well here. The Lincoln Memorial, James Hoffa, various Buddhist monks, and Nostradamus. So again, not much on that. Hey, Shay. So, okay, so I'm going to talk about this it's whatever. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar. It was this huge thing, a year ago, or I don't know how long ago, but with the whole GF thing, the Georgina Flordina, and in my opinion, I'm not going to get into too much details, but in my opinion, 100% orchestrated to cause racial division and, again, distraction, take away laws, and all that jazz. And this one specifically is one of those. So, like, when you finally, if you wake up to these events and I'm able to get through and you guys can finally see what's going on with these mainstream media, high profile events, they are, and I say this so much, but they are very, very easy to spot. And sometimes almost the point where it's laughable how badly put together these events are. But they know it doesn't matter. They can have so many inconsistencies. They know that the majority of people are just going to believe it because they heard it on the news or they saw it happen on the news. How conveniently the people caught it on their cameras or whatever, or then they released the body cam footage only days later, even though it's still under investigation for this alleged cop supposedly killing this innocent person that was being arrested. Anyone watching Dope Sick on Hulu? I've never heard of it, Scotty. I keep hearing about this Squid Game or something, or Squid something. I don't know. I heard it's pretty good. I don't know if I'll watch it, but okay. So heavy.com says no officer, I'm not even going to say his name, you guys can see it on there, isn't in a Make Whites Great Again hat. A photo has widely circulated on the internet with some people falsely claiming that it shows Minneapolis police officer DC wearing a Make Whites Great Again hat. However, Officer C is not in that photo. The allegation is false according to multiple news reports. And yes, Big Pharma lies, Scotty. I agree again. Brandy Zadrozini, that's a last name. Zadroni, a reporter for NBC News, wrote on Twitter, "Please stop sharing the photo of the guy in the Make Whites Great Again hat. It isn't DC. He's a zombie troll. If something seems too outrageous to believe, it often is." Snopes also debunked the photo, writing, "This photograph actually appears to show Jonathan Riches." DC has been named as the Minneapolis, Minnesota police officer who was seen in a viral video kneeling on the neck of a black man named GF, who then went silent and later died after repeatedly pleading in anguished tones that he couldn't breathe. Luke O'Brien, a Huffington Post reporter, wrote, "The man on the right isn't DC. He isn't a cop. He is Jonathan Lee Riches, a notorious conman, troll, and prankster, not to mention the world's most litigious man. Riches injects himself indefensibly into tragic news events, even if it means going to prison." So, again, here's another source showing what I've been saying, how he inserts himself into these tragic mainstream media events, and specifically the ones that I believe, and there's enough evidence, in my opinion, to support that they are orchestrated. Okay, so here's the picture. "A wolf in wolf's clothing, the demons are among us, hashtag fight the cowards." So here's DC, the police officer that allegedly killed GF. And on the right is JLR, Jonathan Lee Riches, in the Make Whites Great Again, posing as DC, causing confusion with the public, and again, inserting himself into these tragic events and confusing the mainstream media, which, again, my opinion on that has changed. I believe that, I'll just go ahead and say it, I think that he is a plant and a total part working with the mainstream media to cause, again, confusion with these orchestrated events, and specifically right now, this Gabby Petito case, because he is all over the place. All of this didn't stop the false claim from widely circulating on social media. Even celebrities shared it. Ice Cube wrote, "A wolf in wolf's clothing. The demons are among us. Hashtag fight the cowards." I already said that. But again, the photo does not show DC. Ice Cube tweeted out a collage showing an actual picture of C next to the other photo that is not him. Others also shared the same false information. Joseph A. Camp, who writes on Facebook that he is in a domestic partnership with Jonathan Riches, has been writing about the photo on his Facebook page. Camp wrote on his page, "Just so we are clear, Jonathan Riches and I trolled Snopes as well. We are not a real domestic partnership. Stop harassing my husband." He wrote that Ice Cube had tweeted a Photoshop image that falsely said Riches was the cop in Minneapolis. He added, "Mega viral, over 60K, trending right now. #1 in the USA on Twitter." He called it fake news and photoshopped images. Then here's a link that says Jonathan Lee Riches has been called the most prolific jailhouse lawyer of all time, which he's going to be asked about in this interview that I'm going to play here shortly. Obviously, pushing the whole virus thing that he's inserted himself in as well. Hey, Floral Gal. Who is Jonathan Lee Riches? In 2013, the New Republic called him the most prolific jailhouse lawyer of all time. He sued the president, sought to intervene in the bankruptcy proceedings against Bernard L. Madoff, and filed civil complaints against public figures ranging from Allen Iverson to Timothy McVeigh. Interesting about Timothy McVeigh, if you guys aren't familiar with him, and we'll get into that. The article notes, adding that he has just finished serving a 10-year prison sentence. ABC News reported that Riches once sued the Guinness Book of World Records after learning it planned to name him the most litigious man. According to the New Republic, Riches helped develop the identity theft technique known as phishing. The Huffington Post reported that Riches duped the New Yorker, which posted a story about a supposed Trump head named Jonah Rich, who attended Trump rallies around the country and claimed he was indoctrinated by liberal professors. He was carrying a sign that said "Jews for Trump." It turned out it was really Jonathan Lee Riches, labeled by Huffington Post as an OG troll who'd bamboozled the New Yorker, and before the magazine, other media outlets. His prison term was for wire fraud, according to the article. The article says that Riches once visited the site of the Mandy Book School mass shooting. He falsely claimed he was the shooter's uncle, according to Huffington Post. He has popped up in other media controversies. He once offered Bill Cosby Jell-O as a Cosby walked into his rape trial, Huffington Post reported. Four officers, including DC, have already lost their jobs in connection with GF's death. The Minneapolis mayor tweeted that 4 responding MPD officers involved in the death of GF have been terminated. This is the right call. He didn't name them. Minneapolis Chief Medaria Arredano called the 4 officers former employees in a news conference. Okay, so I don't want to go into all the GF thing, but it's just explaining what happened in that scenario. Just want to see if there's anything else about JLR in here. Okay, there's not. So, yeah, right, Christy? Okay, so here's another article on it. "Make Whites Great Again" photo is not GF arrest cop, but professional troll. So again, multiple sources here that are claiming that this guy, and Wikipedia as well, if you want to consider Wikipedia a reputable news source. I don't consider any news source reputable. But either way, there's multiple outlets and news sources that are confirming that this guy is 100% a professional troll who inserts himself into these mainstream media events. Twitter has since flagged the image as manipulated media and hundreds of reshared tweets. The site introduced the feature in March as a way of combating harmfully misleading information, especially in the lead up to the 2020 U.S. presidential election. He fooled the internet many times before, and he just did it again. Make Whites Great Again trended high on Twitter on Wednesday, and it was all the work of one professional internet troll. Just a day after appalling footage of GF's last moments on Earth horrified America, a photo of the cop who knelt on his neck resurfaced, showing him wearing a cap bearing the disgusting slogan, "Except it wasn't him." Tens of thousands of tweets were posted, many of them sharing a juxtaposed shot of DC during the fatal detainment, besides what appeared to be him wearing a racist MAGA-style hat. But the second picture was in fact Jonathan Lee Riches, a dedicated troll and federal fraud convict famous for filing thousands of frivolous lawsuits, as well as repeated and often successful attempts to fool the media into believing he is involved in national tragedies. The fake out was spotted by HuffPost journalist Luke O'Brien, who has written extensively about the prankster and has even interviewed him. On Wednesday, O'Brien retweeted a post by Ice Cube, one of the many people who was fooled into believing the two photos were the same person. Okay, we already read that on the other one. Again, it says that he pretended to be Adam Lanza's uncle, the Jews for Trump thing. He also was spotted with a sign saying Muslims for Hillary campaigns at various rallies in hopes of grabbing media attention. Okay, then it says he sued George W. Bush, which I already spoke about. Guinness Book of World Records. Okay, same thing. O'Brien concluded on Wednesday, unfortunately, the slogan on Rich's MAGA cap is now trending on Twitter, the engine that makes wretched things trend. Some of my favorite rappers are amplifying Rich's disinfo hellscape. Okay, so I think you guys get the point as far as that goes. How he inserts himself into these mainstream media events, and specifically the tragic ones. But also, the protests as well. Oh, bye, Kels. Thanks for stopping in. Okay, so here's an article or website that says, photo Jonathan Lee Riches is trying to get attention. Obviously, he's doing this for attention or publicity to get his name out there. And he's been doing it for several years now. Trying to get attention by showing off his Brian Laundrie wanted posters. So a tweet from Jonathan Lee Riches says, I already searched for the Fort DeSoto Park campground area for days looking for Brian Laundrie and found nothing. I don't think he is here. I believe he went back home from that September 6th to 8th trip. Evidence shows Brian was at his parents' house the weekend of September 11th and 12th. So again, I know I sound repetitive, but here he is, inserting himself, tweeting about it, and he's all over this Gabby Petito case. It's annoying. That was October 5th. Okay, and that's all that one says. IDK, I believe so. I actually believe he's working, as I said earlier, I believe he's working with the media to, help either push out the narrative and get people focused on the case and keep them distracted. But not only that, again, he has all his wild and crazy theories, and I think he's there to definitely confuse people even more. So here's another tweet by JLR. I have Gabby Petito's water bottle that Northport police told me on video that they did not want. So not only is he going around and looking with everybody else and their mother, right? You have Doug the Bounty Hunter. You have all of the FBI going out looking for this one kid, or one guy. And he's just going around and acting like he's some sort of outstanding citizen, like he's really being beneficial to this case. going in front of the Brian's parents' house, the laundries, with a megaphone saying, "Where's Gabby?" and starting this protest. He was also seen. I saw this on Melissa Jade's channel when she was covering it. If you guys are not following Melissa Jade, please do so. She's doing great work covering these true crime cases, but not only that, she does trivia and other conspiracy stuff. She's just doing a really great job, and she supports me and allows me to have a voice in her channel where many others do not, especially in the true crime community. So I really, really appreciate her. So I highly recommend you guys check her out. If one of my moderators can please put her channel link in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. But I was in her chat and her live stream, and she was playing some news footage, and in that news footage at where I think it was where they found the items like the backpack and whatnot before the whole water bottle thing, when that whole coverage was going on. So again, I see Jonathan Lee Riches inserting himself right in the middle of the camera, right on screen. And not only that, but guess who's with him? Molly Golightly. If you guys are not familiar with Molly Golightly, she has been covering these true crime cases. I originally found out about her channel when she first started covering the Chris Watts case. In my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, I also believe that she is one of those plants, again, to confuse, divide, keep people focused in the case, look over here, don't look over there, and keep people from really seeing what's going on with these mainstream media events that I'm trying to expose for what they really are, as well as other channel creators. So again, not only do we have someone like Molly Golightly and Jonathan Lee Riches now in the same area and really pushing that narrative and just acting like they're just some sort of outstanding citizen and they're just doing such fabulous work on the case, and let's say hypothetically that this case was real, but that, FBI can't find at this point when this video is going on, if FBI can't find him, or Dog the Bounty Hunter can't find him, or any of the search rescue teams and canine units can't find him, well, Molly Golightly and Jonathan Lee Riches are to the rescue, right? They're gonna find Gabby's body, and they're gonna find Brian's body, or they're gonna find him alive or dead, right? They're just doing such an outstanding job, and they're just great citizens, right? Just doing such a great job for this case and for the public. When really they're not, in my opinion. Again, they are plants, and I wouldn't say Molly Golightly is a professional troll, but we know from all this information that I've shown that Jonathan Lee Riches indeed is one. But I do find it interesting that Molly Golightly is joining in with his shenanigans. No pun intended with the Watts case. Okay. So, again, not only does he insert himself into all these cases, but now, of all things, this Jonathan Lee Riches just so happens to be the individual that finds Gabby Petito's water bottle. What are the odds that he, out of all people, not FBI, not the canine unit, not some other random hiker citizen or whatever. I know that there's that TikTok video with the female, but I'm sure Jonathan Lee Riches was right there behind her, right? And I'm sure you guys, if you're following the case, you're familiar with that TikTok video where the police show up and they just ignore Gabby Petito's water bottle and don't even take it as evidence. But here you have Jonathan Lee Riches, who believes, or he claims to have in his possession Gabby Petito's water bottle, and you would think he would know, if it was real, this case is real, you probably shouldn't touch evidence, right? But here he is in this picture holding it right up. It's got a triangle, a bunch of triangle symbols on it. I haven't had a chance to look at it 100% and just really break down the water bottle, everything that's going on there, but I'm already seeing your occult symbolism on the water bottle. And not only that, but from the TikTok video, and I mentioned this in my last live stream, hey Christy, that on the water bottle, the TikToker who found it, the female, says repeatedly, and she makes it a point to say that on this water bottle, it says Seattle, Washington. And she says it several times. And that's the kind of things, and it's specifically with the Watts case, I noticed that where they repeated something, like it was, whether it was in an interview or, the repeated Lee names or Nicholas and Nicole names, stuff like that. A lot of repetitiveness. Look out for repetition with these cases, and especially in the symbolism. But I just noticed that she made it a point, this TikToker, to keep saying that the water bottle said Seattle, Washington on it. And if you guys follow me, you'll know that I've mentioned several times how the individuals who are orchestrating these events and pulling them off, they believe in karma, and they like to leave us clues, some obvious, some not so obvious, whether it be in movies, television, or anything news related, by using, with the predictive programming that I've covered a lot with the Watts case, with American Horror Story. If they, leave us clues and we're too stupid to realize it, even though we would have no idea, like the majority of people would have no idea unless you know what to look for, of course. But even then, it's not always that easy to spot. But, so if they leave these clues and we're too stupid to realize it, then that's our own dumb fault. But now they no longer have any bad karma on their hands, even though it's a messed up way of going about it. But Ole Damengard, who I mentioned a lot, who is a expert on conspiracy theories and false flags and psyops, he's taught me over the years, and he started noticing, about these cases, and he started noticing how they would leave clues about where they were going to hit next, or where the next event was going to be. And he's actually been able to predict several times the next orchestrated event, more so in, where he's from, like overseas, but either way, they still let us know where they plan to have their next event. So when I saw, and I mentioned this before, and I don't mean to sound repetitive, but again, there are new people in here, but it's important. So I'll keep mentioning all these things as long as I have to. But when I saw the Summer Wells case, and I noticed that her name was Summer Moon Utah, or Summer Utah Moon Wells, the Utah immediately popped in my head. And I said in Melissa Jade's chat, and Nuck and Futz was there. I don't know if they're here or not, but they can back me up as far as, or confirm it. Hey, Dan. And I said in Melissa Jade's chat, I said, if the next event, mainstream media, high-profile, tragic event happens in Utah, then you know where you heard it first. Because, that Utah just popped in my head. And where did we initially see that body cam footage that came out when this whole case started? Moab, Utah. So what are the odds? And that's just one example. I mentioned in the last live stream that one of the viral videos of a woman who was at the concert at the Las Vegas shooting, she gave an interview about the shooting before it happened, how she was at the concert. It went viral. It was everywhere. In that interview, she was wearing a Colorado logo emblem shirt. 1 year later, in August, we have the Chris Watts case. Then you have the El Paso, Texas shooting, which I also believe was orchestrated, another one of those events to push gun control and fear. That happened in El Paso. I already said that. But yeah, the Walmart shooting in El Paso. After that, you have the Gannon Stout case. And Leticia Stout and her family lived in El Paso, Colorado. So again, what are the odds? How many times does it, and that's just, again, a couple examples. There's many other ones that Ole Damengard has mentioned as well. But these are just the ones that I personally picked up on as far as like the true crime and other events. So it doesn't just have to be like the next event. It doesn't have to be a true crime event, just at the next main profile or mainstream media high profile case. So for instance, the El Paso shooting is not true crime. It's a mass shooting. And then you have the Stout case that was obviously a homicide case in true crime. But either way, again, what are the odds that they keep happening in the same cities, even though they're in different states? And how many times do things need to happen before they're not coincidental anymore? To where we need to go, okay, like once, twice, but why does this keep happening over and over again? What's with the symbolism, all the triangles, all the color combinations, all just everything, you name it. How many times does it have to happen to where it's not coincidental any longer? So, and I didn't mean to get off track, but what are the odds that this professional troll who has inserted himself into another one of these events and is all over the place, causing chaos, voicing all his opinions, giving out disinformation, and he just happens to be the person that finds Gabby Petito's water bottle and is in possession of it. What again? Please tell me, what are the odds that this guy, out of everyone that's searching for or was searching for these two individuals, just so happens to be the one to find her water bottle? So in my opinion, he is not only a professional internet troll and inserts himself into these for attention and publicity, but he is also a part of the mainstream media and working with them to push these narratives, but also to confuse people and sway the narrative. Look over here. Don't look over here. What's really going on? And the majority of people probably have no idea this guy's background. So it doesn't matter that he went to prison for 10 years for fraud. That people can change, right? But clearly, this guy has not changed. If he's manipulating like news stories, and not only just news stories, but tragic ones at that, who the majority of people believe are in fact real, when in my opinion, they are not. So either way, he clearly, in my opinion, has not changed. Somebody tweets and says her parents may want it. Jonathan Lee Riches replies and said we would give it to them upon request. Contact her parents. I don't know who this Brian Enton guy is. I keep seeing his name popping up. Maybe you guys in chat can fill me in on who this Brian guy is. But more, because he's going to talk about the Gabby Petito case and a little bit of his background as well. Welcome back, TCA. And thank you for subscribing, Dan. Just give me 1 second, you guys. He's a reporter from Florida? Okay. Hey, Cindy. News Nation. Okay, I'm not familiar with News Nation. So I'm waiting for this video to pull up or come up that I thought was already up. That was not. Or maybe I'll wait to show you guys that in a minute, actually. Sorry. Okay. Hopefully this radio show doesn't hit me up with a claim, but if not, if they do and it gets taken down, oh well, and I'm also not monetized, so joke's on them. So, but I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Charlie has tracked down the guy who was, now, I guess he was standing outside the home of Brian Laundrie's sister, urging her to come out and speak with them. And his name is JLR, Jonathan Lee Richards, his JLR, not our JLR. Yeah. We have our very own Jeffrey LaRoque, but it's not him. It's JLR, Jonathan Lee Richards. And he was out there. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone going? Thank you for having me on.
All right. So what are you, so were you out there with a bullhorn or something, or what were you doing?
Yes. So since this tragedy happened, with the murder of Gabby Petito. We've been protesting outside the home of the parents, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie, and also recently we've been protesting outside the home of Cassandra Laundrie. We feel they know something. We felt that they were involved. We still think the parents are involved, but we wanted answers from Cassie, because Cassie recently gave an interview to the media saying that, she wasn't with Brian since him and Gabby went on their West Coast trip, when in fact it came out recently that after Brian came home from Wyoming after killing Gabby, he basically met with him multiple times. So we wanted answers. So we sat, we stood in front of her house with a bullhorn, and we were demanding her to come out and speak to us, for her to cooperate with authorities, demand that she gives a statement asking for Brian to turn himself in. So for the last couple of days, silence, nothing was there. They were inside the home, but finally, a breaking point came, and both of them just impromptu walked out and spoke to us for 20 minutes.
And did you get the answers that you want? Because this is. I mean, I wouldn't like people standing outside my house with a bullhorn either. But
absolutely not. And she has children, and neighbors that are really close. I think.
Yeah, imagine if you're just a neighbor. If you live next door to this lady, and you have JLR out there screaming into a bullhorn all day.
Well, I think JLR got attacked. JLR, did you get attacked by a neighbor?
I got attacked down at the other laundry house by a neighbor, correct.
Okay.
And the guy handing out flyers of Brian on his doorstep. But going back to Cassie, basically I am satisfied with her answers. I mean, she said that the FBI told her not to talk much, but she willingly came forward, and I seen tears in their eyes. And I generally believe that she does not know anything about Brian on his whereabouts, and I also believe that she didn't assist him with the escape, and I'm very grateful that, they came out and faced us, because, who would want to come out their house facing, angry people with bullhorns? Though we weren't angry, we just wanted answers. But,
now, who was with you? Because I heard some woman also screaming there. I watched the first 60 seconds of this video. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a group of activists that, are actively trying to find Brian and get answers. For me, I know the Petito side of the family personally, so I do take this personal, and it's
Okay, so I just want to stop it there really quick. So now not only does he insert himself into these, and I know I sound repetitive, but not only does he insert himself into these, center screen, just like when I showed the Fox 13 news footage of him front row in front of the laundry house with the megaphone shouting, "Where's Gabby? Where's Gabby?" getting everybody all riled up. And then he's protesting again. And so not only does he insert himself, but now he's saying that he knows the Laundrie family personally. What are the odds again, right? And if you know them personally, then why are you standing outside their house protesting and causing all this chaos and commotion instead of sitting down with them or talking with them if you know them on a personal level? Just pointing that out.
It's my goal to go out there and, find answers. She basically said,
it's his goal to go out there and find answers. Here he goes again with this whole outstanding citizen thing. Like, he's doing such an amazing job covering this case. And he's so much better than FBI and law enforcement and everybody else that's out searching for him. Yeah, he really wants answers. This professional internet troll who inserts himself into these mainstream media events, yeah, he really cares. He really wants answers.
She hasn't, she's not involved. The FBI, she's fully cooperated with the FBI. She has kids. She said her parents and her are alienated now because of this, because the parent's attorney does not want them talking to the daughter anymore. So there's a split in the family over this, and it's interesting. But I don't believe she's involved. So we told her out of respect, we're not gonna, we got the answers that we want, and we're not coming back unless something, develops where she ended up lying or she's ended up being a suspect.
I'm just curious about the method of operation here. Because, in every investigation now, do we have,
Pressure breaks pipes.
Yeah, but in every investigation, does anyone who wants answers, like you're just some guy who wants answers, does anyone who wants answers on everything stand outside of homes with bullhorns and scream at people now? And then, okay, and then I got the answer I want.
Yeah, for me, again, know the side of the family. Just the behaviors of the parents is very disturbing. You know, Gabby was missing. They didn't even help with the search. You know, they immediately lawyered up. Brian, the suspect, lawyered up. A lot of behaviors to them that are suspect. They refuse to talk.
Suspect? Like, he's one to talk. You're a suspect, JLR. Do people, again, if anybody follows this guy on Twitter or believes anything this guy says, why would they? Why would they believe anything that this guy is saying about this case and take it as factual? When clearly there's enough information out there that shows that this guy inserts himself into these events and manipulates people. He manipulates the public. He causes confusion again. And not only that, but the mainstream media. But I'm leaning more towards that he's fully 100% on board with the mainstream media. And because they're allowing it to happen, not that they have any say in it really, but I'm just saying, like, how is he able, knowing, with all this information on him, how is this guy able to get so close into these cases and insert himself and find Gabby Petito's water bottle with his background and how clearly he's a professional troll, a fraudster, and a con artist? So, again, what are the odds that this guy's able to always insert himself into these and wiggle his way into these events?
Refused to even come out and give a statement, the parents, give a statement asking Brian to turn himself in, because a lot of law enforcement out there is expending a lot of resources looking for this guy.
And
there's a cloud of suspicion over the parents, and we feel like if we stand out there and let them know every day, keep Gabby's name in the press, we let them know this is not going away. The spotlight's on you, and we will continue to be here. We get answers.
Yeah. And I think they probably know that already. But you know who now? Who do you know that's involved in this case?
Gabby's side of the family, the victim. Her father's side of the family, I do know them. Personally, I communicated with them on a daily basis. They send me prayer texts. We're just out there, and we're also out there looking for Brian. It's not just protesting. I mean, we've been going through.
And how did you know the Petito family? How did
I've known? This is interesting because I was a personal friend with a family member on the dad's side for years. Facebook friends. I've done political events with this individual. Never knew that she was Gabby's family. But then, I started making some posts saying, hey, this is a tragedy. This girl's missing. Anyone can help. She sent me a personal message and let me know she was a relative. So then we exchanged numbers. Then we started talking via text, and, it went from there, and it's daily communication. She's telling me a lot. The family is devastated. They can't sleep, eat. Right now, some of the family members on the father's side have police, outside their home just parked because this guy's on the loose.
Because there's people with bullhorns out front or whatever. Yeah. Hold on. Dan wants to talk to Jonathan Lee Richards. Go ahead, Dan.
Listen here, you psycho D-bag. You show up at my house with a bullhorn screaming.
Why don't you come to my house?
You feel
what? Why don't you come to my house with a bullhorn if you don't like it? I'll give you my address. Send me a Facebook message. Hey, send me a Facebook message and come to my house.
Shut up.
All right, what's your address? What's your address? I'll come when I'm in your town. What's your address? What's your address? What is your address?
Shut up and listen.
Just give me your address and I'll listen. Give me your address. Give me your address. I'll come to your house and protest. I travel around the country.
Dan, what do you want to say? Go ahead, Dan.
Give me your address.
It's people like you
really
that go out and feel.
Sounds like you're a hater.
You don't know anything.
I know, guys.
You can
you buy my
say
book?
what you want, and there is nothing.
Have you read my book?
No. Let the
I know you sound disgruntled.
Jonathan. So Dan's, I think the point that Dan is trying to make is why not let the police
and some anger management.
But
maybe Dan should get some anger management.
I think Dan's saying why not let the police handle this? Like, what are you going to accomplish?
Well, we got Cassie to actually come out. No other media outlet has spoken to Cassie.
Yeah,
the cloud of suspicion
has she talked to the police though already before she talked to you?
She said she did. According to her, She said she cooperated with the FBI.
So they already had her talking to the police, so they didn't need to hear Cassie talk because they've already talked to her, right?
Well, the FBI, well, she voluntarily came out with an interview with the media and claimed that before September 1st, she did not see Brian and Gabby. She never seen them. But then when Brian, after he came back from the Wyoming and returned home September 1st, he went to her house. And then on September 6th, while Gabby was missing, her, Cassie, the parents, and Brian all went on a camping trip at Fort DeSoto Park. And she confirmed that. So she lied. She lied to the media. Now, she claims that the media misconstrued her words, right? She claims that, the attorney for the parents threw her under the bus. That's what she told us.
All right.
So,
what was the biggest bombshell, JLR? What was the biggest bombshell after the interview? Like, what was your takeaway from it? What did you what was the moment?
The bottom line.
Yeah. She just came out. She just walked out with her husband and came and talked to us. Now, again, there's people behind me screaming at her, and I calmed everybody down. I said, it's here.
JLR was the reasonable one there. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
sounds like it.
Now, JLR, if I may call you that, Jonathan Lee Richards.
Riches. It's R-I-C-H-E-S.
Riches. Gotcha. Now, someone just sent me an article. This is from the New Republic. Are you the most prolific jailhouse lawyer of all time?
Yes.
Is that you?
Absolutely. Yes.
You filed more than 3,000 lawsuits.
Probably 5,500.
5,500. Over what?
Probably about 10,000.
What are you suing?
Oh, no, it was 5,500. Let me brag about falsely suing people over nothing. Wait, it gets better. Trust me.
Everyone over.
That was kind of basically, is something to do with me in the judicial system. A long time ago, 20 years ago, I made a mistake and got arrested and indicted by the FBI. So I've been incarcerated. I've been on that side.
What'd you do 20 years ago?
Wire fraud, computer hacking, and that sort of deal. Yeah, I was in my early 20s. So I went to federal prison for 10 years. It was a very traumatic and traumatizing experience. But, I came out, redeemed myself. Work hard. Now I work for your content.
Is federal prison bad, or is it not as bad as I might think? It's terrible.
So he just mentioned that he works for your content. If you guys are not familiar with what your content is, it's pretty much a celebrity or a news tabloid, news source or outlet. Your content is also the Tabloid website that released and made a big hype with all the dramatic movie poster whole setup with the release of the Watts family at allegedly prison with the jailhouse phone calls or the prison phone calls with Jamie Watts, Cindy Watts, and Ronnie Watts. They made a big hype about it. They did this big release of it on Facebook, and there was thousands of people watching it. They were the ones responsible. He was actually a producer of that whole release with those jailhouse videos, or I keep saying jailhouse, prison videos and conversations that were released. He also works with another individual called Nick. I forgot the second part of his name, his second name. He is also has a criminal background and fraudster. And so, number one, their website is completely tabloid-like, as I mentioned. And then you have con artists that are running it, but the majority of people will not even look into it. They won't even look up your content to see if it's reputable. People believe everything that comes out of the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is another website that is, or a news source that is, known for giving out disinformation and false news stories. But yet the Daily Mail releases this whole article with that Chrissy girl and how she was having a romantic relationship or engaged to Dustin or whatever his name is, and the one that was in prison with Chris Watts, and they swapped lube and boxer shorts, and everyone in the true crime community, or the majority, are like, oh my god, that's so crazy. And this guy was he was housed with Chris Watts, and then Chrissy's now she's on Lifetime, and she's a therapist or a psychiatrist that is falling for these, like, it's just so Lifetime ridiculous, but falling for these inmates, and she's on Dr. Oz, and it just takes away the focus from what's really going on with these cases, clearly, in my opinion. But my point is that when these stories come out about lube and boxer shorts and love letters being written, why does any of that matter from people in the true crime community? Like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought true crime was about, like, discussing the cases and what police failed to do or didn't, or did do, or trying to just discuss these cases and solve them, or whatever the purpose is. But to me, it's like the majority of the true crime, or the people in the true crime community, all they care about is drama and, like, lube and who's writing Chris. And it's just like, again, it's, in my opinion, it's all distraction. And the fact that the majority of people don't even vet this information or try to vet it, and they just believe the information coming from these websites or these news sources that are clearly not reputable or have a history for giving out false disinformation. That just boggles my mind, like, every single day.
It's horrible, and it depends on the conditions. And that's what I emphasize to the Laundrie family when I'm out there with a bullhorn. I said, you don't want to go to federal prison. Trust me, you don't want to go, especially at the later years of your life. The later years of their life, they don't want to go. So they need to cooperate, because they can get leniency if they're involved in any cover-up or helping them with escape. They can get leniency. And as you know, this is a federal case with Brian, the murder. There is a credit card fraud indictment against Brian right now, just to.
So obviously this interview is older. So here this guy is, again, this con artist. He just got done saying that Brian was the murderer, when there's no evidence of that. But people are going to listen to this radio show interview and go, oh, if Jonathan Lee Riches is saying that Brian's the murderer, then he probably is the murderer, even though we don't even know where the hell he is at this point, because this is an older interview. And he's not been convicted. He's not been arrested, but he just got done saying that didn't say in my opinion, and there's no rules by that. But if you don't want to give out disinformation, especially to, I don't know how many people watch this radio show, but he literally just got done saying, Brian the murderer, like accusing him of already killing Gabby. And the majority of people will believe it. That's scary to me. And it's Halloween time, so how perfect. Okay, here we go.
Kind of get him in and then eventually charge him with murder. But him spending life in federal prison is going to be horrible for him.
What did you sue the president for? The president of the United States. What did you sue him for?
He's a war hawk. He's a war hawk. Those liberal neocon war hawks, foreign wars.
Well, can we give
the liberal neocon?
Can we just if I just name somebody and can you explain why you sued them in just like a sentence?
Sure.
Britney Spears.
Sure. To get her attention, bring her in court.
Bill Belichick.
I don't like the Patriots.
So this guy's just laughable. I mean, he's literally admitting to suing these individuals for absolutely zero reason. I'm suing Donald Trump because I don't like him, because of my opinion on him. I'm suing Britney Spears because I just want to get her attention. I'm suing Bill Belichick because I don't like the Patriots, because, as he's going to mention, they beat my Eagles in whatever year. This guy is obviously, clearly, in my opinion, a joke. But you have someone like Jay is for Justice, who has this individual on her stream, on her panel, as a guest, not once, but multiple times. And again, whether or not she knows that he is a professional troll and a con artist, or she doesn't, either way it's disturbing, because she doesn't vet her guests. Or she knows, and she's still continuing to have him on, and doesn't let her guests know what kind of person this is. Not that she should have to, because people should think for themselves, and they should look up this guy and find information on him and see if he is reputable. And even if he does say that he's reputable, that doesn't mean you should believe him. Or because he talks, or because someone talks well or speaks well, or they sound convincing. Like, it's just so, in my opinion, dangerous, and just, it's not good at all.
So you just sue the guy.
Hey, I do think they cheated in the Super Bowl when they played the Eagles back in '04.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs.
'04, the Eagles were up, and then suddenly, the Patriots win the game. So, the Spygate against the Eagles, my team.
Why-
I'm from Philadelphia originally. I'm in Florida now.
Why Steve Jobs?
I don't trust Apple. They're spying on our lives. I really do think so.
What about Grand Theft Auto, the video game?
Oh, that's horrible. You basically it's teaching people, children and minors, to do bad acts. Basically it's all.
So he sues Grand Theft Auto, allegedly he's saying, because it's violent and there's, disturbing things in there and it's bad for children. I mean, are you listening to what you're saying, JLR? Because you're pretty much telling people here that it's okay to sue whoever you want for absolutely zero reason, or that it's okay for you to insert yourself into these tragic, even if they real or fake, insert yourself into these tragic cases and sway opinions and cause chaos for the public. So that's okay, right? And laughing about it. He's laughing about it.
It's all fighting and drugs and prostitution and stuff like that. That's not good for
There's
kids.
one other
That's
thing
why
I'm
they
just
do it.
reading here. It says that you met Bernie Madoff on eHarmony.com.
Yeah, basically.
Like as a date?
No, I mean he was on eHarmony.com. He was Bernie Madoff was an interesting individual back in the day. He was actually on a dating site, eHarmony.com, and he's trying to hook up with guys. And he sent me a message. That's a true story.
Why did you sue the Eiffel Tower?
That was just fun. I don't like I don't like these foreign objects.
I mean, like I said, it obviously gets better. It's almost over, but he just said he sued the Eiffel Tower because he doesn't like foreign objects. I mean, are you guys listening to what he's saying right now? And people actually take this guy seriously as being some sort of benefit to these cases, or the Gabby one in particular. And he's just an outstanding citizen, just like Molly Golightly, and and he's just doing the best he can to really get justice for Gabby. Yeah, I call bullshit.
No, I like American objects, like the Statue of Liberty.
Wait, even though that the
Mount Rushmore.
Eiffel Tower is in a foreign land, you just don't like foreign objects.
Yeah, I'm America first. My policies are America
Well, what about
first.
Plymouth
America
Rock? Why
first.
did you sue Plymouth Rock, where the Pilgrims landed?
I'm kind of I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Now, when you sit in jail, do you just?
And hopefully, I'm hoping that a lot of people know that this guy is a joke and I don't believe everything he says. But when I see 1,200 viewers and Jay is for Justice in her chat and nobody's asking this guy questions or his background or anything like that and asking him tough questions, like, where are you, where are you getting your news sources from? Why are you inserting yourself into all these 1,200 people? Like, that can do so much damage and only help the mainstream media and other people that are allowing this individual to be on their streams, cause confusion again and just chaos in the true crime community. And then I get timed out or muted because I said that I would recommend everybody in the chat look up this individual and his background. So that's a huge red flag. If I'm sitting there saying, I'm not saying anything wrong, I'm saying, hey, look this guy up, vet the information before all you, the majority of you 1,200 people just believe everything this guy says. And if Jay is for Justice or her moderators mute me for that, that's a huge red flag. And you should have your answer right there in itself.
Have unlimited amount of time to file whatever lawsuits you
that's
want?
kind of it. I
Keeps
was
you
a little
busy.
ticked off at myself because getting 10 years for a non-violent white-collar crime with no prior criminal history and get 10 years by a radical leftist judge, a federal judge. I was ticked off.
Now,
I was
all right,
very,
so
very
JLR,
but
what do
it's
you
not
do?
Just me. There's thousands of people that sit in federal prison that don't deserve it.
What do you
That
do
time.
now for a job?
So I work for Your Content. So Your Content, you can find it on, YC News, Original Media Group. So basically, I consider myself a gonzo journalist. So basically, I go to stories and tragedies all across the country, and film and document and integrate myself in it sometimes, and do a little satire through it. Because everyone needs to smile once in a while. During bad situations, and that's
yes.
what
When
I
a
do.
tragedy befalls your
case,
family,
know,
everyone needs to smile. A JLR outside your house with a bullhorn.
Well, this is actually the first time. Believe it or not, I've been protesting against people last year during the George Floyd protest when they were going around protesting. I was actually protesting against them, going around protesting people.
You were protesting the protesters.
Yeah.
Protesting the protesters while also dressing up or pretending to be DC and wearing your Make Whites Great Again hat, MAGA hat, to confuse the public and to trick the media. This guy's a joke.
Pretty much encountering them, because I do back the blue. I do love law enforcement.
Even though law enforcement sent you to federal prison for 10 years.
Absolutely.
What did you do? You said there was wire fraud. What kind of, just in a nutshell, what kind of scam were you operating?
Back then it was like basically hacked into America Online and then do a proto script and then basically sent out spam emails of 100,000 AOL customers to extract information. But the people around me, it's a complicated case. Anyone can read it. It's on the Pacer system. People use some of the data for ill-gotten gains, and I got caught up in it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend do the same thing.
Some people that I was in a conspiracy with got way more time than me.
You had a friend do AOL hacking, Charlie?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, you just make a thing that looks like the AOL website.
I was a code kid.
And then you just send out the email.
The computers as a young kid.
It just says, log in.
And I love the computer.
All right. Well,
Jonathan, wait, real quick. Jonathan.
I don't know if AOL exists anymore.
Yes.
Jonathan, is Brian alive or dead? What do you think?
I think he's dead.
No, I think he's alive.
Yeah.
What are the odds that this guy, who's like pretending to be some outstanding citizen, who just so happens to predict that Brian was going to be found dead, and that's interesting. And if I remember, I'll voice my opinion on that before I end the stream. But so he correctly predicts that Brian's dead and that he's not alive. I just find that very, very interesting. And what are the odds, right? How convenient.
I think the parents helped him escape.
Yeah. They would have found the body by now.
I don't know. I think he offed himself somewhere in the woods.
They would have found the body.
Why wouldn't he off himself at home?
Remember me. I'm going to find him.
Yeah.
I'm going to find him.
It's a race between you and Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm going to find him before the bounty hunter. Then you
got to sue Dog after he finds it first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sue Dog.
All right.
Actually, I talked to Dog on the phone last night. Believe it or not, I'm not playing. I talked to him on the phone last night.
All right. Well, don't sue me, JLR.
Nah, I won't sue you guys. God bless.
All right.
Thank you. And tell some of your callers to call in to get some anger management.
Okay. All right. Thank you, JLR. Jonathan Lee Riches.
All right,
thank you.
And what are the odds that he just admitted that he talks to or claims to talk to Dog the Bounty Actor? Knows the Laundrie family personally. He knows that Brian was going to be found dead. He just happens to be the individual that is in possession of Gabby Petito's water bottle out of everybody that's out allegedly searching for this woman. And then now he's in full contact with Dog the Bounty Actor, who has also had a huge role in this case, who is also a plant, in my opinion. Hey, June. So, and I said at the beginning, I didn't want to give this guy any coverage. I don't want to give him any free publicity, but it's important to point out how easily people can be manipulated if they don't think for themselves. This guy is causing so much chaos in these cases and these tragic events, and specifically this Gabby Petito one. And the majority of people are believing this guy is some sort of outstanding citizen and is just doing so much great things for the community and for the Gabby Petito case, when in reality he's just a plant. He's fully working with the mainstream media. He wouldn't be able to insert himself into all of these events with his background if he weren't in full cooperation with the mainstream media to push the narrative of these cases, but also to cause, like I said, confusion. And if people would just take a moment, like all you have to do is Google the guy's name and Wikipedia immediately comes up and you're going to find several articles like I pointed out. But I shouldn't, and the thing that's frustrating is that I shouldn't have to be doing this. People should automatically know to vet these people that these channel creators are having on as guests before just believing everything that this guy is saying. And again, it's not because, don't get me wrong, it's not because he's went to prison. Like, people do change, but clearly this guy has not changed. I mean, he's literally joking about suing the Eiffel Tower because he doesn't like foreign objects. So anybody, again, that takes this guy seriously, it boggles my mind. It literally does. Oh, yeah, TCA, John Walsh as well. He's getting a ton of publicity for his show. Definitely. I agree. But as far as like Brian being found dead, and I called it and I said, how much you want to bet that Brian is going to be found dead? Because that's so convenient, because now there's going to be no trial. They've already, spent weeks pushing out this narrative, keeping people distracted. Everyone's glued to their television about this one case. And it reminds me of the Las Vegas shooting. Just like Stephen Paddock, conveniently, as I mentioned before, conveniently committed suicide before the SWAT team entered his hotel room. So this guy that's accused of killing allegedly 58 people on the biggest mass shooting in U.S. history is now dead. So the convenient part about that for the people that orchestrate these events is that dead men tell no tales. So no trial. No, with the Chris Watts case, it was different. They're all going to be catered to that specific event. So there might not be a trial. There might be a trial. It just depends on the orchestration. But how convenient that even though Chris Watts didn't off himself, he happened to just go through all this trouble to kill his family and be with his mistress. But then he confessed after like 4 hours of being quote unquote interrogated, right? How convenient. Case closed in 3 months, open and shut. Nothing to see here. We already pushed our narrative onto the public. Distraction. And push fear. Hey, Leslie. So what are the odds that now Brian's dead? Gabby's dead. Brian's dead. And not only that, but now both of their bodies have allegedly been cremated. This is still an ongoing investigation. And the same thing again with the Las Vegas shooting. Stephen Paddock's body, this guy allegedly, like I said, accused of killing 58 people in the biggest mass shooting in U.S. history. And they decide that they're going to cremate Stephen Paddock's body only 3 months after the event, while there is still an ongoing investigation and while the FBI had not yet given us their final report and motive as to why not Chris Watts, but Stephen Paddock did what he did. So it's convenient that that one doesn't go to trial. It's, and now that evidence is gone. Look for evidence. That's another one of those huge red flags in these cases, you guys, that I talk about all the time on those list of characteristics. If evidence is missing, lack thereof, destroyed, or sent away, like Chris Watts, his work truck was auctioned off, even though it was still an ongoing investigation, that's a huge red flag. If bodies are being cremated while there's still an ongoing investigation and before anybody has been charged in trial or any sort of murder or charged for anything, and still, when it's an ongoing investigation, like I said, that's a huge red flag, because now that evidence is gone. Just because you do one autopsy, maybe that coroner didn't do an outstanding job on the bodies, and if it went to trial, let's say hypothetically, and the defense wants to have a different coroner or pathologist do another autopsy on either body, well, now they can't. That evidence is destroyed. It is gone. So it's very, very convenient for the ones orchestrating these cases to literally destroy evidence. Look at 9/11. They immediately shipped all of that rubble and building to China. But while the NIST wasn't even like close to being done with their investigation before they could even test the dust or anything. Yeah, exactly, Shay. Jinx. But so again, that's one of those red flags. Look out for missing, obviously inconsistencies, holes in the narrative, that mainstream media, high profile, where it gains so much mainstream attention. I mean, how quickly you guys did the Watts case and the Gabby Petito case spread like wildfire just within days, where all the mainstream media outlets are covering it over and over and over again, and they're all pushing the same exact narrative because they're all controlled by the same corporations and the same individuals. And so when you have the help of all your mainstream media outlets to really push out that narrative to as many people as possible, that's a plus that they have going for them. Hey, Cecile. So that's one of those red flags. Another one, like I said, is the lack of evidence, destroyed evidence, missing evidence, no proof of victims, no autopsy photos. Just there's so many. And those are the ones that you guys need to remember. And I'll try to, maybe next time I'll put him as my background again, because it's so important, because they're not going to switch it up as long as it keeps working. They're not going to fix something that's not broken. So as long as those characteristics and those that, I don't know what you call it, but whatever steps that they're taking to pull off these events, they, for the most part, they're all the same. No matter if it's a school shooting, a terrorist attack, a homicide case, a missing persons case, a protest that's orchestrated, any of these tragic events, if you start seeing all these same red flags, the symbolism, that's when you need to take a step back and really look at things from a different perspective. And think, how many times do these things need to keep popping up? Or how many times do triangles need to keep popping up? Or how many times do these cases need to have so many inconsistencies to where nothing makes sense and there's more questions than answers? Like, so take a step back when you start to notice those things and try to push your emotions aside. Because the reason why these cases are so, or these events are so successful, is because they use the tragedy and sadness to pull at heartstrings and really get people's emotions going. And when people are emotional, they don't think logically. All logic is thrown out the window at that point. So in order to see these cases for what they really are, again, you have to, if you can, you have to push your emotions aside. You cannot be emotionally attached to these victims in order to see what is really going on, what the big picture is. So on that note, again, I hope that I do not have to speak about this individual again. I hope that there will be enough people and, spread the word about this guy. He's not here. He's not that outstanding citizen that other channel creators and he himself are making people believe, or, so he's doing more damage than good, 100%. Hey, Orbital. So please, like, if anybody has guests on, and I know you guys, if you're following me, you guys are amazing, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate you guys so much, and I know that the majority of you are awake to what's going on, or you're starting to become awake, and you guys do think for yourself, as no matter as cliche as that sounds, but it's so important, especially these days, with so much manipulation, the media manipulation, television, just all the technology with like the deep fake and the green screens. Like, people can be so easily manipulated, and it's so important to really ask questions. And if you are being timed out, if you're being muted, if you're being called a conspiracy theorist, or you're being attacked, then you're doing something right. If you are being censored, in my opinion, then you're doing something right, because people don't want to hear that. And if you're going to other channels and they're muting you for simply having an opinion and asking questions, then you have your answer right there. And that's a huge red flag, in my opinion. But again, please vet these individuals. And you can't always vet the information, obviously, and they know that. But at least try. And just, again, know that people are shitty. Plain and simple. They're just shitty, and the majority of them are out for only themselves, unfortunately. So with that being said, I'm going to end this. I will be continuing to cover this case, and maybe again a Watts case. The Watts case is finally dying down, thank goodness. But I still want to try to wake people up that aren't awake to the Watts case, the Wells case, this Petito case, and 99% of these true crime, high-profile cases that get so much attention, as well as I'll try to cover the other ones as well. So, again, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to my moderators. I really, really, really appreciate you all so very much and for your support. And have a great night, and I'll see you guys next time.